You know when you feel that annoying little twinge right there in your back that comes and goes? It started like that, as a temporary discomfort. Oh, it must be bad posture, I thought, stretching a bit in my chair. I ignored it, you know? After all, who has time for a little ache with the busy life we lead? I started blaming work, the hours spent sitting in front of the computer, the stress of daily life. It's just exhaustion, I repeated to myself. A massage, a hot bath, and everything went back to normal. But the twinge became more insistent, more frequent. Every now and then, it went down to my arm, gave some stings. Then I began to get a little worried, but still resisted seeking a doctor. It must be just a pinched nerve, I said, trying to convince myself. Until one day, the pain woke me up in the middle of the night, a pain so strong that it left me breathless. There, in the dark of the room, feeling every muscle in my body scream, I knew. It wasn't just exhaustion. It wasn't just bad posture. It wasn't something I could ignore. I needed help. My name is Olivia. I am 44 years old, and until a few months ago, my life was normal. You know, that routine of work, home, family, friends, nothing extraordinary, but full of small joys, like a breakfast with the sun shining through the window or a tight hug from my son. It was a life that I loved and that suddenly was shaken by a diagnosis: cancer. Today, I am here in an ICU bed, fighting against this disease that invaded my body, tired, exhausted, but still with a small flame of hope burning inside me. And I decided to share my story, even though it is difficult, even though I am exposing myself in this way, because perhaps my experience can serve as a warning to others. I know I made mistakes. I erred in not paying attention to the signs my body was giving me. I erred in ignoring the pains, in postponing the visit to the doctor. I was afraid, I confess, afraid of what I could discover, afraid of having to face a serious illness, and that fear paralyzed me, prevented me from acting in time. I deeply regret not taking better care of myself, not prioritizing my health. That's why I want my story to serve as a call. Listen to your body, do not ignore the pains, seek medical help. Do not be afraid of the truth, because early diagnosis can make all the difference. I want to turn my pain into hope, into awareness. I want other people not to make the same mistakes I did. Negligence, oh negligence. It dressed itself in lack of time, in work stress, in bad posture. Every twinge, every stab in the back was promptly justified. I'm carrying too much weight. I slept wrong. I need a vacation. The truth is, I was afraid. A paralyzing fear of facing the unknown, of facing the possibility of something serious. So, I preferred to deceive myself, to cling to banal explanations that allowed me to move forward without having to deal with the uncertainty. Self-medication became my faithful ally. When the pain tightened, I ran to the pharmacy in search of any painkiller. A muscle relaxant will do the trick, I thought, swallowing a pill with a glass of water. Sometimes it worked. The pain decreased for a few hours, giving me the false sense that everything was fine. Other times, the relief was temporary, and the pain returned with more intensity. But I persisted, repeating the cycle: pain, painkiller, temporary relief, pain. I even tried anti-inflammatory ointments, hoping they would solve the problem locally. I massaged my back with the ointment, feeling a slight warming, and convinced myself that I was doing enough. But deep down, I knew I was only masking the symptoms, postponing the inevitable. The routine was relentless. Work, home, child, commitments, barely had time to breathe, let alone take care of my health. I'll look into this later. Next week, I'll schedule an appointment. When I have more time, I'll take care of myself. And time kept passing, days accumulating, and my health becoming increasingly sidelined. Work was urgent. The family needed me. Commitments couldn't be postponed. I was essential everywhere, except for myself. Pain became a part of my life. I lived with it for months, getting used to the discomfort, learning to ignore it. Sometimes I even forgot I was in pain. It became so automatic to justify, medicate, and move forward. But the body always collects the debt. And my bill came in the worst possible way, forcing me to stop, look inside myself, and face the truth I feared so much. At first, it was just a stubborn twinge, an annoying reminder that followed me throughout the day. I felt it more strongly when I bent down to pick something up off the floor, or after long hours sitting in the office. It was as if a small pin was poking my back, causing a fleeting discomfort. But over time, the twinge turned into a constant pain, a dull weight that accompanied me with every movement. At work, the situation became unbearable. The hours that used to fly by became a torture. Focusing on tasks was a challenge, and the pain made me irritable and impatient. I needed to stand up every few minutes to stretch, arch my back, and try to relieve the tension. My coworkers began to notice my strange behavior. "Are you okay, Olivia?" they would ask with a concerned look. I forced a smile and replied that yes, it was just a little back pain. But the truth was that it was becoming increasingly difficult to hide the suffering. At home, the pain also started to affect my routine. Playing with my son became a sacrifice. Running after him in the park, carrying him, or even sitting on the floor to put together a puzzle were activities that caused me immense suffering. My husband, noticing my struggle, offered to do more household chores, but I felt guilty for not being able to handle everything as before. At night, the pain prevented me from sleeping. Finding a comfortable position in bed was an impossible mission. I tossed and turned, trying to get comfortable, but the pain would not let up. I woke up several times during the night, exhausted and frustrated. The next day, I woke up even more tired, and the pain seemed stronger than ever. Leisure activities, which used to bring me so much joy, became a burden. Going to the movies, dining out with friends, or even taking a stroll in the mall were things I avoided at all costs. The pain prevented me from enjoying these moments, and I felt like a burden to the people around me. I began to isolate myself, to distance myself from my friends and family. I was scared that they would notice my weakness, that they would see me as a sick and incapable person. I wanted to continue being the strong and independent Olivia I had always been, but the pain was consuming me from within. Frustration and despair invaded me in moments of crisis. I felt my body failing me, betraying me. I looked in the mirror and didn't recognize the person reflected there. The tiredness, the pain, and the sadness had taken the sparkle out of my eyes. I began to feel useless, unable to perform even the simplest tasks. I hid the situation from the people around me for fear of worrying them or being judged. I made up feeble excuses to justify my absence from social events or to explain my irritability. I pretended to be fine, even when the pain was consuming me from within. The truth is, I was drowning in a sea of pain and suffering. I was afraid to face the truth, to discover what was happening to my body. I preferred to live in denial, hoping that the pain would disappear on its own, but the pain didn't go away. On the contrary, it intensified, leading me to a breaking point. That day dawned gray, as if the sky itself was sensing the whirlwind that was about to hit me. The back pain was piercing, making it hard for me to take deep breaths. I got out of bed with difficulty, feeling every muscle in my body protest. I walked over to the mirror and faced a pale and worn-out image, a distant reflection of the woman I used to be. It was at that moment, looking into my tired eyes, that I knew I couldn't delay it any longer. I needed to seek help. I called the family doctor, Dr. Mendez, and managed to get a same-day appointment. His calm and reassuring voice gave me a glimmer of hope. Upon arriving at the office, I felt somewhat relieved but also apprehensive. The waiting room, with its colorful magazines and soft background music, seemed like an oasis of normalcy amidst my inner chaos. But inside, I was trembling. The consultation with Dr. Mendez was thorough. He examined me carefully, asked several questions about my symptoms, my family history, and my lifestyle. I felt that he truly cared, that he was genuinely interested in helping me. After the physical examination, he ordered a series of tests: X-rays, MRI, CT scan, and blood tests. The list seemed endless, and each item made me more anxious. The following days were torture. Each test was a new stage in a terrifying journey. The wait for the results was agonizing, consuming me from within. I spent sleepless nights going over every detail of the consultation, searching for signs of hope in Dr. Mendez's words. But fear was stronger, paralyzing me and clouding my thoughts. Finally, the day of the follow-up appointment arrived. I sat in the waiting room, heart in my throat, feeling every rapid beat in my chest. When the nurse called my name, my legs trembled. I walked to Dr. Mendez's office as if I were heading to the gallows. He greeted me with a kind smile, but his eyes could not hide the gravity of the situation. He sat in front of me, took a deep breath, and began to speak. The words that came out of his mouth sounded like thunder in my ears. Cancer. The world around me dissolved. I felt a chill down my spine, an emptiness in my stomach. My mind refused to process the information. Cancer? Me? It couldn't be true. It was a nightmare, a mistake, a cruel joke. But Dr. Mendez's serious expression left me no doubts. It was real. At that moment, my life split in two. Before and after the diagnosis, the future, which once seemed so promising, became a terrifying unknown. Doubts invaded me. How would I tell my family? How would I face the treatment? Would I survive? Tears began to freely flow down my face. I felt a deep pain, overwhelming anguish. The world collapsed on me, crushing me with its relentless weight. I needed answers, support, a miracle. I needed to fight. The beginning of treatment was like entering a dark labyrinth, not knowing where the exit was. Chemotherapy, radiation therapy, strong medications, an arsenal of weapons to fight cancer. But that also attacked my body, leaving a trail of destruction. The first chemo session was a shock. The needle piercing my vein, the strange sensation of the drug spreading through my body, the nausea that hit me hard, knocking me down. I spent the following days lying in bed, weak, without appetite, feeling every cell in my body protesting. The side effects were relentless. Constant nausea, vomiting, diarrhea, extreme fatigue. My hair began to fall out in tufts, leaving me bald. Looking in the mirror was painful. I didn't recognize myself anymore. The pale face, deep dark circles, lack of hair. I looked like a different person, a weak, sick, defeated person. Hospitalizations have become frequent. An infection, a high fever, any complication. Each hospital stay was a new blow, a new obstacle to overcome. The ICU became my temporary home, a cold and impersonal place where pain and suffering were constant. Surgeries were necessary to remove the tumor and to check if the cancer had spread to other organs. Each surgery was a mixture of hope and fear. Hope that the tumor would be completely removed. Fear that the cancer had spread. Pain was a constant companion, a pain that accompanied me day and night, preventing me from sleeping, from eating, from thinking, a pain that made me irritable, impatient, desperate. The changes in my body were difficult to accept. The hair loss, the swelling caused by the medications, the scars from the surgeries. I felt like my body was betraying me, like it was no longer mine. Extreme fatigue prevented me from doing the simplest things. Getting out of bed, taking a shower, eating, everything required a huge effort. I felt like a drained battery with no energy for anything. There were moments when I thought about giving up. The pain was unbearable. The suffering was constant. Hope seemed to be fading away. But then I looked at my son, at my husband, at my friends, and found the strength to keep going. The support of my family was crucial. My husband was by my side at all times, giving me strength, supporting me, encouraging me not to give up. My son brought me joy and hope with his tight hugs and sincere smiles. My friends visited me in the hospital, called me, sent me messages of love, showing me that I was not alone. The medical team was also amazing. The doctors, nurses, physical therapists, psychologists, they all treated me with professionalism, care, and respect. They explained everything to me about the disease, the treatment, and the possible side effects. They provided me with emotional support and helped me cope with the challenges. Faith also helped me a lot. Believing in something greater than myself, having hope that everything would be okay, gave me the strength to keep going. I prayed, meditated, sought comfort in the words of the Bible. Despite all the challenges, I never lost hope. I knew the fight would be long and difficult, but I was determined to beat cancer. I knew I wouldn't be alone in this battle. I knew I had people who loved me and were rooting for me, and that gave me the strength to keep fighting, one day at a time. There is a great confusion between terminal illness and palliative care, and it is important to clarify this difference. Being in a terminal state means that the disease is in an advanced and irreversible stage, and that the life expectancy is limited, usually in weeks or months. Palliative care, on the other hand, is an approach aimed at improving the quality of life of patients and their families who are facing problems associated with serious illnesses, such as cancer, at any stage of the disease. They can be offered from diagnosis until the end of life. Many people associate palliative care with the end of the line, as if it were an admission that there is nothing more to be done. But this is a mistaken idea. Palliative care is not about giving up, but about living the best way possible, even in the face of a serious illness. They offer support to relieve pain, control other physical symptoms, such as shortness of breath, nausea, and fatigue, and also take care of the mental and emotional health of the patient and their families. Being in palliative care means having access to a multidisciplinary team composed of doctors, nurses, psychologists, social workers, and other professionals, working together to provide comprehensive and individualized care. This team assesses the needs of the patient and their family and develops a care plan aimed at meeting their physical, emotional, social, and spiritual needs. Palliative care can be offered in various settings, such as hospitals, clinics, nursing homes, and even in the patient's home. The goal is to provide maximum comfort and quality of life, allowing the patient to live their days in the best possible way, surrounded by their loved ones. In addition to traditional medical care, palliative care can also include complementary therapies such as meditation, yoga, acupuncture, and massage. These therapies can help alleviate pain, reduce stress and anxiety, improve sleep, and increase the sense of well-being. In my case, alternative therapies were of great help in dealing with the symptoms and stress of treatment. Meditation helped me calm my mind, relax my body, and find some inner peace amidst the chaos. Yoga helped me strengthen my muscles, improve flexibility, and relieve tension. Acupuncture helped me control pain and reduce nausea. It is important to emphasize that alternative therapies do not replace traditional medical treatment, but they can be a valuable complement to improve quality of life. It is essential to speak with your doctor before starting any alternative therapy to ensure that it is safe and suitable for you. Palliative care taught me that life is precious and that every moment should be valued. I learned to live one day at a time, to focus on the present, and to be grateful for the little things. I learned the importance of having hope, even in the face of adversity. And I learned that even in the face of death, it is possible to live with dignity and peace. And then, like a bucket of cold water, came the news. Recurrence. The word echoed in my mind, destroying the faint hope that I had struggled so hard to keep alive. I felt the ground disappear beneath my feet, the familiar vertigo of helplessness taking over me. It was as if all the steps I had taken towards healing had been erased, throwing me back to square one. Frustration was overwhelming. Anger pulsated in every fiber of my being. Why again? Why me? The questions echoed without finding an answer. Everything started over. The exams, the consultations, the anguish of waiting. But this time, the symptoms were different, more subtle, yet more relentless. A persistent cough, bone pain here and there, a fatigue that did not go away with rest. I ignored, tried to rationalize, but fear whispered in my ear, louder and louder. The test results confirmed what I had feared: metastasis. The cancer had spread to other organs, making the fight even more challenging. The news hit me like a punch to the stomach, leaving me breathless. Suddenly, death became a constant presence, a shadow looming over my life. Fear paralyzed me. Fear of pain, of suffering, of the unknown. Fear of leaving my son, my husband, my family. Fear of not seeing the sun rise, of not smelling the rain, of not embracing the people I love. The fear was so overwhelming that it suffocated me. It prevented me from breathing. Acceptance was a slow and painful process. I fought against it with all my might, but deep down, I knew it was inevitable. I needed to accept the new reality, no matter how harsh it was, in order to move forward. I needed to learn to live with the fear, the pain, and the uncertainty. I needed to find a new purpose, a new meaning for my life. I started seeking psychological and spiritual support. Therapy sessions helped me deal with my emotions, to express my fears and anxieties, to find tools to face the situation. Faith gave me strength and hope, showing me that I was not alone. I decided to focus on living in the present, on cherishing each moment as if it were the last. I began to appreciate the small things, the simple moments, the tight hugs, the genuine smiles. I reconnected with my friends and family, strengthening the bonds that unite me to them. I have learned to say no to what does not benefit me, to prioritize my physical and mental health. I have started practicing activities that bring me pleasure, such as reading, listening to music, and walking in nature. I have learned to take care of myself, to love myself, and to forgive myself. I know the battle against cancer is tough, and the road ahead may be long and winding, but I also know I am not alone. I have the love and support of my family, friends, medical team, and my faith, and that gives me strength to move forward, one day at a time, with hope and courage. I believe life is a precious gift, and every moment should be lived intensely. And that's what I intend to do, until my last breath. I want to leave a legacy of love, hope, and faith, so my son knows that even in the face of adversity, it is possible to find joy and meaning in life. And above all, I want him to know that love is the most powerful force in the world, capable of overcoming any obstacle. I have discovered that the present is all we really have. Before, I was so worried about the future, planning every detail, that I forgot to appreciate the now. Illness forced me to stop, to slow down, to pay attention to the little things around me. And believe me, it is these little things that make all the difference. One of my favorite activities is taking a morning walk in the park. The sun rising, the birds singing, the smell of the wet grass. It's a gift for the senses. I feel the energy of nature invading me, renewing me, giving me strength to face the day. Watching children playing, couples holding hands, elderly people chatting. It's a celebration of life, a reminder that beauty is everywhere. You just have to know how to see it. I love to read. A good book transports me to other worlds, makes me forget about problems, allows me to dream and imagine. Diving into stories, meeting new characters, learning from other cultures. It's a way to expand my horizons, enrich my soul. And of course, the simple act of turning the pages, feeling the smell of the paper, brings me an inexplicable comfort. Cooking is another passion. Preparing a meal for my family with fresh ingredients and love is an act of care and dedication. The smell of spices, the sound of the pot, the colorful foods. It's a symphony for the senses. And of course, the joy of seeing my loved ones savoring the food with a smile on their face is the greatest reward. Valuing relationships has become a priority. Before, I was so busy with work and daily tasks that I ended up neglecting my friends and family. Illness showed me the importance of cultivating these bonds, of being present in the lives of the people I love. Calling a friend, setting up a meeting, sending a message. Small gestures that make all the difference. Learning to express my feelings was a challenge, but also a liberation. I have always been a reserved person, keeping everything to myself. But illness taught me that repressing emotions only does harm. Crying when needed, laughing when I feel like it, talking about my fears and anxieties. It is a way to connect with my essence, to free myself from the burden I carried. Being grateful for life has become a habit. I am thankful for each day, for each opportunity, for each person who is part of my journey. I am thankful for health, for family, for friends, for work, for faith. I am thankful for the little things, like a tight hug, a genuine smile, a ray of sunshine. Gratitude helps me to maintain hope, to face challenges with courage, and to value every moment. Illness taught me to prioritize what really matters. I let go of unnecessary worries, excessive demands, unrealistic expectations. I learned to say no to what doesn't serve me well, to focus on the present, and to value what I have. I discovered that happiness is not in having, but in being authentic, in being grateful, in being happy with what you have, and above all, in loving and being loved. Life and death, two sides of the same coin. Before the illness, I saw them as opposites, as antagonistic forces. Life was synonymous with joy, with health, with the future, death, with sadness, with pain, with the end. But facing cancer, my perspective shifted. I discovered that life and death are not enemies, but partners, walking together, side by side. Death is not the end, but a passage, a transformation. It is the gateway to a new dimension, to a new state of consciousness. It is the moment to detach from the physical body and merge with universal energy. It is the natural cycle of existence, of which we are all a part. Life, on the other hand, is a precious gift, a unique opportunity for learning, for growth, for evolution. It is the moment to experience all emotions, to love intensely, to overcome our fears, to fulfill our dreams. It is the moment to leave our mark on the world, to make a difference in people's lives. Illness has taught me to cherish every moment, to seize every opportunity opportunity to love unconditionally. It has taught me to be grateful for what I have instead of lamenting what I lack. It has taught me to be more compassionate, to understand the suffering of others, to offer support and comfort. It has taught me to be more resilient, not to give up in the face of obstacles, to believe in my inner strength. Cancer has turned me into a stronger, braver, more humane person. It has shown me that I can overcome any challenge, that I possess an inner strength I was unaware of. It has taught me the importance of caring for my physical and mental health, of prioritizing what truly matters, of living intensely in the present. The legacy I want to leave is one of love, of hope, of faith. I want to inspire others to take care of their health, to prevent diseases, to seek medical help when needed. I want to encourage people to live fully, to achieve their dreams, to love unconditionally. I want to show that even in the face of adversity, it is possible to find joy and meaning in life. To those facing similar challenges, I want to say, do not lose hope. Believe in your strength, trust in medicine, seek emotional and spiritual support. Remember that you are not alone. There are many people who care about you, who are rooting for you, who want to see you succeed. Take care of your health, prevent diseases, seek medical help when needed. Live fully, achieve your dreams, love unconditionally. Be grateful for what you have instead of lamenting what you lack. Be compassionate, understand the suffering of others, offer support and comfort. Be resilient, do not give up in the face of obstacles, believe in your inner strength. Life is a precious gift, a unique opportunity for learning, growth, evolution. Enjoy every moment, love intensely, overcome your fears, achieve your dreams. Leave your mark on the world, make a difference in people's lives, and above all, be happy. Believe me, happiness is within everyone's reach. You just have to know how to see it. And remember, hope is the last to die. Keep the faith, believe in a better future, and never give up fighting. Life is worth living, even in the face of adversity. If there is one lesson I have learned on this journey, it is the importance of listening to your body. It speaks to us all the time, through subtle signals, fleeting pains, persistent discomforts. Ignoring these signals is like silencing a friend who is trying to warn us of an imminent danger. Do not make this mistake. Pay attention to your bodies. Welcome their signals. Seek medical help at the slightest sign of alarm. Prevention is essential. Early diagnosis can make all the difference. Do not be afraid of tests. Do not postpone appointments. Do not be led by negligence. Health is our most precious asset, and we must take care of it with care and attention. I still remember the fear I felt before seeking the doctor, the apprehension of hearing the diagnosis, the distress of facing the unknown. But I learned that fear cannot paralyze us, that the truth, however harsh it may be, is always the best path. Early diagnosis gave me the chance to fight, to seek treatment, to have hope. If I had ignored the signs of my body, maybe today I wouldn't be here to tell this story. If you are facing an illness, whatever it may be, I want to tell you, don't give up. Believe in your strength, trust in medicine, seek emotional and spiritual support. Don't isolate yourself. Talk to your friends and family. Share your fears and distress. Find a purpose, something that motivates you to move forward, something that brings you joy and hope. And above all, love. Love yourself, love your family, love your friends, love life. Love is the most powerful force in the world, capable of overcoming any obstacle. My journey with cancer has taught me to value every moment, to seize every opportunity, to love unconditionally. I learned to be grateful for the little things, to smile with the heart, to hug with the soul. I discovered that life is a precious gift, and we must live it intensely until the last breath. I thank each one of you who accompanied me on this journey, who offered me support, affection, and hope. I thank my family, my friends, my medical team, my faith. I believe in the strength of life, in the importance of valuing every moment, in the power of love and hope. And I carry with me the certainty that even in the face of adversity, it is possible to find joy and meaning in life. May peace and love be with all of you.